The colossal spacecraft appeared in Earth's orbit without any warning. Larger than any human-made structure, it spanned nearly 10 kilometers in length. Its exterior resembled polished obsidian, traced with glowing blue veins that pulsed rhythmically, like a living heart. The ship made no attempt to hide. It intended to be noticed. Admiral Sarah Chen stood firm on the bridge of the UDF Defiance, Earth's most advanced defense vessel. Through the main view screen, she stared at the mysterious ship floating above the planet, a black crescent against the stars. The crew remained wordless. All of them sensed that history was being rewritten. Then, without preamble, the alien ship transmitted a message in flawless English. The voice was mechanical and emotionless, but the meaning was undeniable. Inhabitants of the third planet, prepare for formal first contact. A delegate of the Hegemonic Council will arrive aboard your ship in 1 standard hour. Proper conduct is expected. Sarah's jaw clenched. She had imagined humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial life. Many times, but never like this. Not with commands before greetings. Soon a shuttle departed from the massive alien vessel. Small but elegant, it moved like a ripple in water. Graceful, nearly fluid. It touched down inside Defiance's main hangar without so much as a vibration. The bay doors opened, and out stepped the envoy. He was unlike anything they'd imagined. Towering and slender, his body shimmered like translucent crystal, with waves of light moving beneath his surface, as though his thoughts were visible. He had no mouth, yet when he spoke, his voice echoed from all directions. 2 other beings followed. One resembled a mechanical arachnid crafted from silver alloy. The other was wrapped in dense gray fur, walking upright with 6 muscular arms. Admiral Chen and her top officers stood waiting. She wore her formal uniform. This was not a casual visit. "I am High Arbiter Zelthak of the Vorak," the crystal figure declared. His voice rang through the hangar like a chime. "I speak on behalf of the Hegemonic Council, the rightful overseers of this galaxy. You now stand before authority." "I'm Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Defense Force," she replied evenly. "Welcome to human space." The light within Zelthak flickered, perhaps in surprise. "Human space?" he repeated. "You misunderstand. There is no such thing. There is only council space and you reside within it." The officers behind Sarah stiffened, their hands twitching at their sides. She kept her voice steady. "Perhaps we've misunderstood each other," she said. "Earth belongs to humanity. We're open to peaceful dialogue, trade, cooperation, knowledge exchange." Silence. The word struck like a knife. "You will not speak unless permitted." Zelthak continued, his tone frigid. The hangar fell still. Sarah could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. She met the alien's gaze with resolve. "No," she said. "What did you say?" "I said no. This is our vessel, in our territory, above our world. You don't issue orders here." Zelthak's internal light flared crimson, the spider-like, being hissed sharply. The furry creature shifted, tension building in its limbs. "Your species is uneducated," Zelthak said coolly. "Such confusion is common among new servant races. Allow me to clarify your place." He gestured, and a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy emerged in the air. It depicted vast regions in red, blue, green, each labeled with alien symbols. "For 50,000 years, the Hegemonic Council has governed this galaxy," Zelthak explained. "We are 12 civilizations, divided by natural order. The dominators lead by right of strength and knowledge. The administrators manage assigned zones. The servants provide labor and materials to sustain harmony." Sarah scanned the map. Earth lay deep within a green region. "Let me guess," she said. "Green means servant?" "Correct. Your species demonstrates sufficient intelligence for routine tasks. You will be classified accordingly. This decision is final." "And what exactly does being a servant involve?" Zelthak's brightness dulled slightly, as if bored by the question. Standard protocols. 30% of your planetary resources will be transferred annually. 10 million individuals will be selected for labor deployment. Your military development will cease beyond approved levels. Education and governance will fall under council monitoring. In exchange for what? Peace, stability, survival, extended lifespans through advanced medical technologies, tools to elevate your primitive status. Sarah looked around. Her officers were tense, afraid. The alien craft outside likely outmatched Earth's entire fleet. But beneath the fear, she saw something else. They were waiting for her decision. She turned back to Zelthak. What if we decline? The alien's lights froze. Decline? Yes. What if we don't agree to your terms? A pause. Then Zelthak's glow intensified. Declining is not within your capacity. You cannot decline gravity. You cannot oppose the orbit of planets. The galactic order is not negotiable. It simply is. Then watch us. The words rang out like a challenge. The spider creature hissed louder. The six-armed beast flexed, clearly preparing for escalation. Zelthak studied. Sarah, again, your world is young, he said. You may not understand the consequences of resistance. Let me educate you. He raised a hand. Another display formed. Minor correction, he began, includes precision strikes on urban centers, military dismantling, removal of leaders, installation of council-appointed governors. Severe correction is sterilization, complete removal from the galactic roster. Your world would serve as a warning. Sarah's breath caught. These beings didn't bluff. Their words were clinical, methodical destruction wrapped in logic. But then she thought of her daughter, of the billions of humans who dreamed of reaching the stars, not to serve, but to soar. She stood straighter, stood. High Arbiter Zelthak, she said formally. On behalf of humanity, we reject your conditions. It was not a proposal. Then we reject your command. Zelthak's body blazed with piercing light. Your defiance is illogical. You are a servant race. You have no say. Sarah didn't flinch. We are not servants. We are humans, and we choose our path. Zelthak turned to his companions. They spoke in strange harmonic sounds mixed with static, beyond the translators. Reach, yet the urgency was obvious. After a moment, Zelthak faced her again. In 50 millennia, no species has refused classification, he said. There is no precedent. Maybe it's time you created one. He paused. Perhaps you require time to understand reality. You are technologically primitive, militarily weak, and politically naive. You cannot resist us. You're right, Sarah said. We're new to the galaxy, but we have something you seem to have forgotten. What is that? She met his gaze without blinking. The right to say no. Zelthak's lights shifted in strange, unfamiliar patterns. When he spoke again, his voice was different. That may be confusion, Zelthak said calmly. Rights are not inherent. They are granted by power. The Council holds that power in this galaxy. Therefore, you possess only those rights we assign. Sarah didn't hesitate. That's where you're wrong. Some rights don't come from authority. They come from being alive, from thinking, from choosing. No one gave us the right to be free. We were born with it. The alien delegates traded more musical tones and static whispers. Sarah sensed their struggle to comprehend. In their experience, power meant dominance. Submission was a natural law. The idea that a weaker race could simply say no wasn't in their worldview. Admiral Chen, Zelthak said at last, your species will be granted one standard day to reconsider. Perhaps your leaders will advise wisdom, where your military cannot. The answer won't change, Sarah replied. That remains to be seen. But know this, if you persist in defiance, the consequences will be severe. The Council does not tolerate imbalance. We restore order at any cost. Sarah's voice didn't waver. We'll be ready. Zelthak's glow dimmed until he was nearly invisible. No, you won't. Without another word, the aliens turned and left. Their shuttle departed the hangar in silence. Sarah watched it disappear into the void, then turned to the observation window where the enormous ship still loomed in orbit. She knew what she had done. She had invited war against an enemy that could erase her species in moments. But some things were worth standing for, even if the price was everything. Her communications officer looked up. Admiral, we're getting signals from all over the planet. Governments, generals, news agencies. Everyone wants to know what happened. Sarah thought for a second. Then, simply, tell them the truth. Tell them aliens came demanding submission, and we said no. Tell them war is coming, and tell them, even if we lose, we'll fight, because that's who we are. As the alien vessel began to move away, Sarah felt the weight of her decision. She might have just sparked humanity's last war, but when she looked into her crew's eyes filled with terror and pride, she knew it was the only decision she could live with. The galaxy was about to discover something new. Humanity did not kneel. 3 days after the deadline passed, the Council fleet arrived. Admiral Corrin of the hegemonic Navy led the operation. His forces included 12 capital ships and nearly 50 escort vessels. A force meant not for war, but for swift subjugation. Earth's military was primitive. This would be over quickly. The human fleet that met him numbered barely 24 ships, 8 larger vessels and the rest barely qualified as armed. Corrin had ended planetary rebellions with less. Open channels to the humans, he ordered. Give them one final offer to surrender. The reply came from Admiral Sarah Chen, speaking from the bridge of her flagship. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Defense Force. You've entered sovereign space uninvited. Leave now, or face consequences. Corrin nearly laughed, but something in her tone stopped him. It wasn't desperation. It wasn't fear. It was belief. She believed her tiny fleet could make a difference. Admiral Chen, I am Admiral Corrin of the hegemonic Navy. Resistance is futile. Comply now and your correction will be minimal. Persist and you will face eradication. Sarah's reply was steel. Tell your council this. We don't ask permission to defend our home. If you want it, come and take it. The channel closed. For a moment, Corrin said nothing. In 3 centuries of service, no species had ever dared speak to him like that. Most begged before the first shot was fired. Orders, sir? His tactical officer asked. Begin the assault, Corrin said. Target their ships. Spare civilian zones for now. The Council wants prisoners. The Council ships advanced, their formations tight, their weapons glowing with power. This would end quickly, but the human ships didn't flee. They didn't even defend. They attacked. The UDF Defiance launched its old-style missiles straight at Corrin's flagship, then charged directly into one of his cruisers, detonating on impact. The explosion consumed both vessels and crippled nearby allies. What are they doing? Corrin's officer asked, bewildered. I don't know, Corrin admitted. Another human ship, the Courage, approached too close to another cruiser and detonated its reactor. Both ships vanished in white-hot fire. Sir, they're using suicide tactics, his officer said. No species uses suicide tactics, Corrin replied. It's irrational. But there it was. The humans weren't trying to win. They were trying to hurt him, even in death. The battle didn't last minutes. It lasted 6 hours. Corrin's forces won, but not without loss. 9 ships destroyed, several more disabled. His flagship sustained heavy damage, too severe to continue the orbital bombardment. Admiral, a voice called. Incoming transmission from the planet. The view screen flickered. A human appeared, bloodied, exhausted, but eyes blazing. This is General Martinez, Earth Defense Command. Congratulations, you took out our fleet. Now it gets hard. Corin responded coldly. Your ships are gone. Your defenses are broken. Surrender, and spare your people further suffering. The general smirked. You fought 8 ships for 6 hours. There are 8 billion of us down here, and now every one of us knows exactly who you are. Before Corin could reply, alarms blared. Sir, dozens, no, hundreds of launches from the surface. On screen, Earth spat fire into space. Rockets of all kinds, missiles, cargo ships, mining rigs, even old civilian craft, hurtled skyward, all jury-rigged with explosives. They're using everything that flies as a weapon, his tactical officer said in disbelief. Most of the projectiles were destroyed mid-flight, but a few broke through, slamming into council vessels. 3 more ships took damage. This is madness, Corin whispered. Admiral, his science officer said, pale. Massive movement on the surface. They're relocating industrial machines. Mining, lasers, fabrication bots, heavy construction gear. They're setting up defenses. They're turning factories into weapons, Corin murmured. Sir, incoming from High Command. A shimmering hologram appeared. Zelthak. The crystal alien glowed with agitation. Admiral Corin, you are late. Status? Corin hesitated. High Arbiter, the situation is unusual. The humans are not behaving according to expected models. They fight without concern for survival. They sabotage their own assets. They refuse to accept reality. Zelthak's light sharpened. Are you telling me your fleet cannot subdue a single primitive species? We can, Corin answered carefully, but not without losses, greater than projected. And more time will be needed. I am not concerned with cost. I am concerned with order, Zelthak replied. These humans defied council authority. They must be corrected, entirely. Or, some species might have misunderstood. Rights aren't just handed out, they're authorized. And the council in this galaxy is the highest authority. So technically, you only have the rights they decide you deserve. That's where you're mistaken, Sarah said. Some rights aren't granted. They're born with us. They come from simply existing, from thinking, choosing, and being alive. No one gave us freedom. We were born free. The alien group traded more of their harmonic language. Sarah sensed they were struggling to understand her stance. In their culture, power dictated permission. The idea that a weaker species could refuse to obey didn't make sense to them. Admiral Chen Zelthak finally spoke. You have one standard. Day to reconsider. Perhaps discussion with your leaders will bring clarity. Wisdom your military cannot offer. Our answer won't change. That remains to be seen. Be warned. If you hold to this course, the consequences will be dire. The Council does not tolerate threats to the natural balance. Order will be restored at any cost. We'll be prepared. Zelthak's light dimmed to near darkness. No, you won't be. Without another word, the aliens returned to their shuttle. Sarah watched them go, then turned to the massive vessel hovering above Earth. She knew the line she'd just drawn could mean the end of her people. But she also knew some battles had to be fought, even when defeat seemed certain. Her communications officer looked up. Admiral, the world is listening. Every nation, every leader, every media channel wants to know what happened. She paused, thinking. Tell them the truth. Say visitors came demanding our surrender, and we refused. Say war may be coming, and we'll probably lose, but also tell them this. We're going to stand and fight because that's who we are. As the alien ship prepared to depart Earth's orbit, Sarah wondered if she had just triggered humanity's greatest crisis. But looking at the determination on her crew's faces, equal parts fear and pride, she knew she had made the only decision she could live with. The galaxy was about to learn something new about humans. They would discover that some people would rather fall free than live under another's rule. The war was coming. Authority and structure, these are the Council's foundation. They claim to embody both, so naturally resisting them must be wrong, right? Says who? The question hung in the chamber like thunder, lingering long after it was spoken. Elena watched the council members shift uneasily. They exchanged glances and murmurs in dozens of tongues. The structure of the universe, Zelthak finally answered. Powerful species govern. Weaker ones obey. This has always been so. 4. You, maybe? Elena replied, steadying her voice. But humans see the universe differently. How so? She drew a breath. The words she was about to speak could either open minds or seal her fate. We believe that any thinking life form deserves freedom. That strength doesn't give anyone the right to control others, that no one, human or alien, should live their lives asking for permission. Silence. A silence so complete she could hear her heartbeat echo in the vast space. These beliefs, said a new voice behind her. Elena turned. The speaker was a being of floating angular forms, like geometry given life. These beliefs are destabilizing, dangerous. Why? Elena asked. Because they challenge your power? Because they question the rules you made up? Because they ignore truth, the being said. Without order imposed by the wise, there is only chaos, violence. We have brought peace. You've brought control, she said. That's not the same as peace. Zeltak's glowing patterns pulsed sharply, possibly irritation or fear. Dr. Vasquez, your species has barely existed in galactic history. You can't understand what happens when the natural structure breaks. Maybe not, Elena replied. But I know this. When someone tells a human they can't be free, we resist. We always do. Even if it costs us everything, the chamber murmured with alien discussions. Her translator caught fragments, but most meanings were too complex, too foreign. One phrase came through repeatedly, though, in many different voices. The spread has begun. Zelthak turned back to her. You will assist us. You'll help. Design psychological strategies to break your kind. You'll share their fears, their instincts, their weak points. No. This isn't a request. I know, she said softly. Still no. The shadow figure leaned forward. You misunderstand. We could cause you great suffering. Erase your home world. Leave only you, haunted by the knowledge that your refusal doomed them. Terror gripped her, but she thought of her daughter, likely among the fighters on Earth. She thought of every human who had chosen death over submission. You could do all that, she said quietly, but I still won't help you. Because I know who I am. The aliens conversed again. She caught the word madness, repeated more than once. There is a flaw in your species, the brain being chimed, musical tones layered with meaning. You cause harm to yourselves and others when surrender would bring safety. Or maybe the flaw is yours, Elena countered. Maybe you've forgotten what it means to choose. She was led back to her cell. Something was different. The guards walked with hesitation. Along the halls, other prisoners, aliens, watched her, eyes uncertain, expressions unreadable. That night, a strange sound echoed softly. Singing. A language, unknown. But the tune was full of sadness and beauty. The next day, a new guard brought her food, an insectoid being with metallic wings. I am Clickstar of the Ricari, it said in a hush. I have a question. Elena looked around. No other. Guard nearby. What kind of question? Is it true that humans believe all conscious beings should be free? Yes. Freedom is a right, not a gift. Its wings buzzed gently. The Ricari have served the Council for 8,000 years. We mine their metals, harvest their crystals. In return, they guide us, tell us where to live, what to do. And how do you feel about that? I'd never thought about it, but watching your people fight, die for freedom, it makes me wonder about things I never questioned. A spark of hope flickered in Elena. What things? Why, Do we make wealth we never get to keep? Why are our young taught obedience, not thought? Why must we ask permission to move between our own moons? They're dangerous questions, Elena said, but good ones. If others heard me, maybe they're wondering too, just scared to say it. Clickstar's wings paused. Do you think so? I think freedom is like a spark. Once someone sees it, they can't unsee it, and if enough people catch it, nothing can stop the fire. Clickstar said nothing more, but she could tell her words stayed with him. In the days that followed, others approached her quietly. A jelly-like maintenance worker asked about justice. A food courier with 6 eyes wanted to understand why humans shared instead of hoarding. Each exchange was short, but Elena saw the truth. The rebellion wasn't just a fight, it was a question, an idea, and that idea was spreading. A week later, she stood once again in the council chamber. Only half the ruling seats were filled. The others were absent, dealing with what the translator called sector disturbances. Zelthak's glow pulsed erratically. Your defiance is causing problems far beyond your kind. What kind of problems? Servant species are asking questions, refusing duties, considering changes to their roles. She suppressed a smile. And that's bad? It's chaos. Order depends on each species knowing its place. Or maybe it's a chance, she replied. A chance for everyone to choose their own path. The shadow being interrupted. Dr. Vasquez, you will record a message telling your people to surrender. Or others, those influenced by your kind, will suffer. Contaminated, Elena echoed. Is that what you call it when someone begins to think? We call it a threat to peace. She looked at the council again, and finally saw it clearly. Fear. They weren't afraid of her. They were afraid of what she represented. I won't tell my people to give up, she said, but I'll give you advice. What advice? It's already too late. Ideas don't need ships or soldiers. Just a voice whispering to another, freedom is possible. They returned her to her cell, but the worry was gone. Outside her, door. She heard more voices raised in quiet song. Different tongues, same melody, haunting, hopeful. The idea was alive now. It was growing, and no one could stop it. Full neutralization protocol is now active, the crystalline figure declared to the assembled commanders. Not only for humans, but for any species showing signs of ideological infection. This influence must be extinguished before it spreads further. Admiral Koran sat aboard the inevitable Dominance, the Council's largest warship. Around him, the largest fleet in known history prepared for action. 300 heavy cruisers, 800 support ships, and 50 planet-erasing dreadnoughts. More firepower than had been seen since the last Great War 10 millennia ago. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "all units are in position. The human system is surrounded." Koran nodded. Humans had proven resourceful, but that alone could not stand against such force. "Commence planetary strikes," he ordered. "Target major population centers. Show them what refusal means." Plasma torpedoes launched toward Earth. Each could level a continent. Koran watched the display, expecting swift annihilation. Instead, he saw something entirely unexpected. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice trembled. "They're intercepting the torpedoes." Koran stared. Human ships, military, civilian, cargo, even personal craft, were throwing themselves into the weapons' paths. Each impact vaporized the ship, but neutralized the torpedo. "How many vessels do they have?" "Unknown, sir. They keep launching, from hidden bases. Intelligence suggests full-scale conversion of industry to shipbuilding." More torpedoes launched. More human lives were sacrificed, but Earth remained unharmed. "Transmission incoming from the planet," said comms. A young human woman appeared on screen in uniform. Behind her was a massive underground command center. "Admiral Koran, I'm Commander Lisa Chen. daughter of Admiral Sarah Chen. Koran froze. Her mother had died crashing her ship into one of his cruisers. "What's your message?" She said if she didn't survive, I should make sure you understood one thing. You're not just fighting Earth anymore. You're fighting an idea that's reached 47 star systems. "What are you saying?" Lisa smiled, defiant, like her mother. "Check your intel. Really check it." Koran motioned to the officer, who pulled up recent data. Koran's stomach turned. Servant species were revolting in 17 sectors. The Rikari had seized their mines, halting material supply. The Throati had stopped surveillance operations. Korvaxian engineers were sabotaging council ships. Worst of all, these species were cooperating, sharing tech, tactics, and support. How is this happening? "Humans," said Lisa, "make allies. We've been teaching others how to fight, how to think freely. They lacked the training. They lacked our tech, but we're sharing it, and more importantly, we've shared something else." "What?" "Hope. The belief that they don't have to obey forever." Koran felt dread growing. These rebels weren't just copying humans. They were evolving, adapting, innovating. "Sir!" the science officer shouted. "Massive energy spikes! Asteroid belt!" A fleet emerged. Multi-species, improvised, united. Rikari mining ships, Aquarian vessels, Zarii formations. Tactical confirmed. 237 ships from 12 species. A joint message. Played. Faces filled the screen. Humans, Rikari, Aquarians, and others. "We are the Free Species Alliance. Withdraw from all controlled systems. Every being deserves to decide their own fate. You have 1 hour to respond." Koran was stunned. Lisa returned to the screen. Turns out freedom appeals to others too. They just needed someone to show them how. "You can't win," Koran insisted. "We have superior numbers and tech." "Maybe, but we're fighting for our families. Your troops follow orders. Ours follow purpose. Which side do you think fights harder?" The ensuing battle broke every rule Koran knew. No formations, no predictable strategy. Each species fought with its own strengths. Rikari ships drilled through. Armor, throaty telepaths synchronized attacks. Aquarians moved unpredictably, dodging targeting systems. But the humans stood out, improvising, adapting, repurposing debris into weapons. "Sir," the tactical officer called. "They've redirected." "One of our torpedoes!" Koran watched as a hijacked torpedo reversed course, destroying 2 council ships. "How?" "Unknown. They've developed tech that counters ours in real time." Captain Marcus Torres appeared, his ship damaged, still fighting. "Admiral Koran. Captain Torres here. Just wanted to say thanks." "For what?" "For showing us how to fight for something bigger. 6 months ago, we were just angry survivors. Now we're part of something that will reshape the galaxy. You'll lose. Even if this fleet falls, the Council has hundreds more." "True. But we're not trying to win by brute force. We're making it impossible for you to keep fighting. Every loss weakens you. Every act of resistance spreads our message." Koran saw the truth. This wasn't about conquering. It was about exhausting the old system. "Sir," the communications officer said, "rebellions now reported in 43 sectors. Same tactics, same resistance." "The virus is spreading," Koran whispered. "What, sir?" "Nothing." He looked at the display. Watching his fleet gradually fall apart under the assault of species once deemed powerless, Koran spoke. "Send a message to High Command. Inform them that the total neutralization protocol has failed. The resistance is expanding beyond our ability to contain it." "What are your orders, sir?" Koran reflected on decades of service. His loyalty, his belief in hierarchy, the dominance of the strong. Then he remembered the young human leader who spoke of freedom and unity. "Tactical retreat," he said quietly. "All ships pull back, to minimum safe range." "Sir, you heard me. Fall back." As his worn fleet left Earth's orbit, Corrin wondered if he'd just witnessed the beginning of the end of the Council's 50,000-year rule. Humanity had done the impossible. They had taught the galaxy how to resist. The last battle was fought at Nexus Prime, the ancient seat of the Council's rule. The planet was a symbol of power, covered in shining towers that pierced the clouds. At its heart stood the Grand Assembly, where the galaxy's fate had long been decided. Admiral Lisa Chen stood on the bridge of the FSA Unity, facing the most formidable defense ever assembled. 1,500 warships formed a perfect shield around the planet. Elite soldiers, unmatched technology. Opposing them, 412 ships from 63 species. Many cobbled together from civilian vessels and patched repairs, driven by hope more than hardware. By all logic, they should have fallen quickly, but logic couldn't measure what the Alliance had become. "Admiral," her comms officer called out, "every fleet unit reports ready." Lisa nodded, eyes scanning the display. Ricari miners, Threnody scouts, human destroyers, Aquarian refit, vessels, Zeri crystalline ships maintaining flawless communication. "Open a channel to the fleet," Lisa said. Screens lit with faces, dozens of species standing together. Captain Torres, leading Indomitable, Commander Clickstar of the Ricari, Admiral Nara of the Threnody Peace Corps. Once servant, peoples now equals. "Friends," Lisa began, speaking through a translator to every species, "today we end 50,000 years of domination, not with conquest but by proving we can stand side by side, free and united." A wave of replies came in many tongues, but one meaning, yes. "All units," Lisa ordered, "begin final approach. Remember, we're not here to destroy. We offer the same choice they gave us. Join us in peace or make way for a new future." The Alliance advanced. Their formation wasn't rigid. It flowed like an ecosystem, ships shielding others, balancing weaknesses with strengths. It was stunning and unnerving. The Council, as expected, responded with overwhelming firepower, but the Alliance was prepared. Their shared experience had built trust, coordination, and creativity. Ricari shields protected allies, telepaths synced. Evasion patterns. Human crews adapted in real time, turning wreckage into weapons. The battle raged 18 hours. Casualties mounted, but slowly, the Council lines cracked. A breach opened. Lisa's ship and several others pushed through. "Admiral," her tactical officer warned, "ground defenses are locking onto our landing zone." "Disregard," she said. "We didn't come to fight. We came to speak." The Unity touched down at the Assembly Plaza. Alliance delegates disembarked. Council guards surrounded them, but so did curious crowds. Members of the species long, held under control, now watching this moment unfold. The Assembly doors opened. High Arbiter Zelthak emerged, his glowing crystalline form flickering. Behind him, 11 surviving Council elders. "Admiral Chen," he began, his voice calm but tired. "You have come to witness our surrender?" "No," Lisa replied. "I came to offer a choice." "What choice?" "Our fleets are broken. Our control is lost. The servant races have risen. What's left to choose?" Lisa gestured to the allies around her. "This is the choice. Join us as equals to build something better." Zelthak blinked, his patterns dimming. "You're not here to conquer?" "No, we're not conquerors. We're liberators." "What's the difference?" "Conquerors claim power. Liberators return it to everyone." The alien leaders stared at her. Around them, the crowd of civilians had grown. She saw Ricari, Threnody, Aquarians, some crying, some singing, all filled with hope. "For millennia," Zelthak said slowly, "we've preserved order through strength and hierarchy. Without that, there will be chaos." "Maybe," Lisa agreed. "But it will be our chaos. and I'd rather face chaos together than live under perfect control. A shadowy council member floated forward. What guarantee do you offer that peace will last? None, Lisa said. Freedom isn't safe. It's uncertain, it's risky, and yes, it leads to mistakes. But there are mistakes to make. Then, why choose it over structure? Lisa thought of her mother, the sacrifices made by so many. Because the right to choose, even wrongly, is more meaningful than being forced into someone else's idea of order. Perfection without liberty isn't perfect at all, she pointed to the crowd. Look at their faces. When was the last time you saw hope in their eyes? Zelthak looked, really looked, and saw something he hadn't in ages. Joy, wonder, belief in a better tomorrow. What do you propose? He asked softly. The Galactic Liberation Accords, Lisa said. Every species governs itself. Every world manages its own future. No rulers, no slaves, just partners. And us? Join us. Your wisdom could help or walk away. The choice is yours. Commander Clickstar stepped forward. For 8,000 years we mined crystals under your watch. We were grateful, but we were afraid. Humans taught us fear of freedom is worse than fear of danger. Now our children will choose their own way. That freedom is worth any risk. Others spoke, the Thronodi, the Aquarians, each voice adding their dream to the collective vision. Finally, Zelthak replied, I have lived 3 millennia. I've seen civilizations rise and collapse, but I've never seen anything like this. A unity forged from nothing, but the desire to be free. His light shifted into hues Lisa had never seen. When he spoke again, it was with awe. Perhaps it is time for something new. A galaxy shaped by choice, not fear. The crowd erupted in cheers. Across the stars, a new age was born. 6 months later, Lisa stood in that same plaza. It looked entirely different. The monuments of control were now schools, hospitals, community, halls. Children from every species played together, laughing, learning, free of the chains their parents had worn. Dr. Elena Vasquez joined her. Your mother would be proud. I hope so, Lisa said, but she'd be cautious too. Why? Lisa motioned to the busy plaza, where representatives from every world debated and planned. Because now we must prove freedom works. We must show that cooperation and equality can sustain peace. Doubting already? Elena smiled. Every day, Lisa admitted. But then I watch those kids. They'll grow up in a galaxy where they can choose their future. That's worth every struggle. A young Ricari ran up. Admiral, 7 new species have asked to join us. What did you tell them? What we always say, the alliance isn't something you join. It's something you build, starting with claiming your freedom and helping others find theirs. Lisa nodded. Perfect answer. As the sun dipped below Nexus Prime's horizon, casting brilliant colors across the sky, Lisa looked ahead to what was still to come. It wouldn't be easy. There would be setbacks, conflict, and doubt. But the future was theirs to shape, and that made all the difference.